What's going on, everybody? I am here to do a movie review for Venom Let There Be Carnage. But first of all, you may not notice it, or maybe you do, but you notice there's an extra brightness going on right here on your screen. That's because I just invested in a new ring light. It's actually my first ring light. And I said I wanted to get one, when I do on-person or in-person on-camera videos, just kind of brighten the room up a little bit. It makes it a little bit more brighter and a little bit lighter, and it's good for low lighting. So I said, you know what? Let me just go ahead and invest in one. Got it off of Amazon for like $21, so fairly affordable. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But Venom Let There Be Carnage. Venom Let There Be Carnage is the sequel to the 2018 Venom film that got mixed reviews. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some people hated it, some people were wondering why was it even made. I was one of the people that was kind of in between, where I said I liked it, I didn't like it. There were parts that I liked and there was parts that I didn't like. And to be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of feel the same way about this one. But before I really get into that, let me just go ahead and go right into it. So Venom Let There Be Carnage is basically following, of course, the story of Eddie Brock, played by Tom Hardy, and him adjusting to life, living with a whole symbiote in his body known as Venom. As you know, they combined and joined up in the first Venom movie. We already knew it was going to be some kind of friction there, because here you have this alien life form that's combining with this human. And these are two different personalities clashing together. And fun fact, in case y'all didn't know, Tom Hardy is also doing the voice of Venom. All they did was they enhanced it a little bit to make it sound more alien-like. So this is not, so if you ever heard that Venom is being played or voiced by another being, or another person, or another actor, that's not the case. Tom Hardy is playing that part. One thing I will give Tom Hardy is the fact that he knows how to portray a character that has to literally have conversations with himself. So it's like he can be talking as Eddie Brock, and then Venom is like that inner thought that just says some random stuff, and he has to like kind of calm him down a little bit, because Venom is a real eccentric type of character. He really or rarely ever has a calm moment. He did have some calm moments in this movie, but I don't want to spoil it and tell y'all exactly where those moments happen in the movie. But like I said, they're picking up, where they left off with the first Venom film. At the end of the first Venom film, we meet up with the main villain of the film, who is probably one of the biggest and most well-known villains in Marvel, known as Carnage, played by, aka Cletus Kasady, aka Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson. Now, what I will say is this: Woody Harrelson plays crazy very well, and everybody agrees, and so do I, that one of the best decisions that they could have ever did for this movie or this franchise was casting Woody Harrelson to play Cletus Kasady. If you don't know who Cletus Kasady is, he basically is a huge serial killer. Like, he just goes killing people just for the hell of killing them. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care what you do. It doesn't matter to him. He doesn't care how you choose to live your life. If he feels like killing you, he's going to do it. Cletus Kasady is basically on death row for killing a bunch of people, and he's basically been sentenced to death. And he gets ready to go onto that chair, and then the unthinkable happens. And I'm not really spoiling anything when I say this, but how he gets the symbiote in his body is different than how it happened in the comics, from what I've heard. But at first I was like, that's how he got it. But trailer trickery. When you see the movie, then you see what actually leads up to that actually happen. That what you saw in the trailer does indeed happen in the movie, but leading up, or the build up to it, is what now it makes sense of, how he got the symbiote in his body. And like I said, he's just a stone cold killer. Like, he just kills for the hell of killing. And the way that Woody Harrelson plays this role is just so excuse me, is so amazing. How he speaks, how he enunciates his words, how he moves. And we're going to get to that as far as the direction goes in a minute, because I think that was one of the other parts that I liked about the movie. Just how he says things, like he literally embodied who Cletus Kasady is, and that name alone just sounds crazy. Imagine you come across somebody named Cletus Kasady. That just sounds like someone you don't want to meet in a dark alley somewhere. Like, he just sounds like he's going to like take you out. We also get introduced to another new character in the movie who I was actually who I was really excited to see because I like the actress. Is Shriek, played by Naomi Harris, who is a phenomenal actress. I don't think she gets enough credit for the work that she has done in the past. After all, this woman has been nominated for an Oscar, and this is her month because she has she has 2 movies coming out in October, a week apart. If you didn't know, she's playing Shriek in this movie, and then she's going to be playing Moneypenny in the next James Bond film, which comes out literally next week. So she literally is like double dipping in the month of October. She was in that movie Black and Blue, and she's done a lot of things. She's had a very long-standing career, and I'm glad that she's getting more exposure and she's doing this role. A lot of controversy came behind her getting cast for this role because people were saying Shriek is a quote-unquote white character, but if you look at the comic, Shriek has no color. She's sort of like Domino from Deadpool when they got mad when Zazie Beetz got cast as Domino in Deadpool 2 because she's black. And the same thing happened with Naomi Harris. They're like, oh, they're doing the colorblind cancer. They're doing the race bending because Shriek is not black. Well, Shriek isn't white either. She's the color of a crown. Like, she is she's kind of phased out. She's about as bright as this light that that is beaming on my face right now. So they could have made her any race or ethnicity. So, but who was really mad at that. But she plays Shriek. Shriek is basically the love interest to Cletus Kasady. She doesn't care about anybody but Cletus Kasady, just like he doesn't care about anybody except her. Cletus will kill anybody except her. Shriek will kill or harm anybody except him. And her ability literally is in a name. She basically has these high supersonic screams. Basically what she does is she breathes in the air and she projects it out as a scream. And I'm telling you right now, whoever did the sound effects for her scream, they did a very good job of getting that high intensity scream to the point where when I was watching the movie, I had to almost be kind of to my ear a little bit because it was such a piercing scream and it made you feel like you were in the movie. But she did a really good, amazing job as Shriek. I like how she was able to switch up her voice to make her sound crazy and maniacal because, in case y'all didn't know, Naomi Harris is of British descent. And she was able to embody this character of sounding like she's absolutely batshit crazy. And indeed, in this movie, she was just that. She was actually, like I said, one of my favorite parts of the movie. Like Woody Harrelson as Carnage or Cletus Kasady was one of my favorite parts. Now let's get to the part about Carnage, the character of Carnage. As we all know, Carnage is embodied by, Carnage is inside or part of Cletus Kasady, and how the symbiotes work, it basically embodies a person and it takes on the personality of the person. So as we know, Cletus Kasady is a maniacal serial killer. That's exactly what Carnage is going to be as well. So much, in fact, that it shook Venom because when Venom was about to fight him, and this is not really a spoiler because it was in the trailer. It's a spoiler for those who never watched the trailer though. But in the trailer, when he was about to fight him, he shook Venom when he came out and Venom saw him for the first time. He was like, oh, that's a red one. And he kind of went, sort of like how the Hulk did when Thanos had made him in Infinity War, and he didn't want to come out and fight Thanos, and people were so mad about that, and I can completely understand why. But that's basically, Carnage he's a big red symbiote, and let me tell you, one of my man, it was this one scene. If there wasn't anything I didn't like about this movie, one thing I really loved was when he first appeared, and it was this massive escape scene. I'm gonna just leave it at that. That was very well done. It got you into seeing who Carnage was as a symbiote, and what people wanted to see as with Carnage is that he be as psychotic as he could possibly be, because Carnage is one of the most dangerous, non-negotiable symbiotes out of all of them, and there's so many. It's more than just Venom, it's more than just Carnage, but a lot of people really know Venom and Carnage because those are the two most popular ones. But Carnage, when I found out that Carnage was going to be in this one, I said, oh, they got to ramp it up. They got to really go in. They got to like not hold anything back when it comes to how they deal with Carnage and what he does. And I feel that they actually did it. Now, how they made this movie an R rating, which was one of my issues, and I'm kind of getting into it now. I think they could have really gone even further with his character. Maybe they could release a director's cut and maybe show things that did not make the film. So, I got through characters. Oh, the direction. Shout out to Andy Serkis. In case y'all don't know, Andy Serkis is an actor and a director, and he's like the master, the king of motion capture. Like, I don't know, two characters that I know him best for doing motion capture for, and he's done so many, is playing Gollum or Smeagol in Lord of the Rings, and Caesar for all of the Planet of the Apes movies. Not them old ones, but the newer ones, like from Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, playing Caesar. And he's a very excellent motion capture director, and you can actually see his direction in the way that the characters move and the way that they talk and everything. Like, it was one scene where Shriek is inside of her cell, in the way that she's kind of like looking down at the characters and looking up at the characters and crouching. I said, that has Andy Serkis written all over it. When I saw that, it reminded me of how he was when he was playing Caesar. So I like that they got him to be a director, because they knew that they could get him to do the motion capture thing well without him actually being in the movie. Because I think he actually has a studio, if I'm not mistaken, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, or some kind of class or something like that, where he actually just focuses just on that. I don't know how many movies he's directed, but he has a little bit under his belt, but he did direct this movie. But I really like what the direction he did as far as the movements of the characters while they're in their human form. Well, mostly, human form. When they go and turn into the symbiote, then it's really no holds bars. And you could tell they had fun with the Carnage character with a lot of stuff that he did, but I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who chooses to go see it. So one of my issues or a couple that I had, one of them I already mentioned, it wasn't an R-rated movie. The first one was supposed to be R-rated, but they scaled back and made it PG-13. And then they came back and made this one PG-13 as well. And I think that's going to take some people out of the movie, because Carnage could have easily, just his character alone, his presence, we were saying that should have been R-rated. Why wasn't that particular character, why wasn't that R-rated type of character? Because they easily could have done that with his character. The second issue that I had with this particular movie was it was too short. Believe it or not, this film is only 90 minutes long. 90 minutes, an hour and a half. That's it. It's a relatively short film. It is not that long. I think the first one might have been long. I don't know what the runtime was for the first one. I'm going to look it up and probably put it down in the comments, so someone can put it down in the comments somewhere. But the first one was, I guess, around the 2-hour mark. And that's interesting, considering that this is a Marvel property. It's not an MCU film, but it is a Marvel property because Venom and Carnage and Shriek are Marvel characters. But the movie was just too short. And my worry was that they were going to cram too much, or try to cram so much into a very tight space. And it's like, what could you really do with that? Another issue that I had is I feel like they had too many playful moments with Eddie Brock and Venom. Granted, we know what we were going into with the Venom character. He has his comedic ways, but I feel like they put a little too much in there. Keep in mind, the movie is only 90 minutes. So I feel like they spent quite a bit of time, or a little too much time, on the Venom character and Eddie Brock's relationships in a more playful manner, where they were trying to be funny. And I'll admit, some of the jokes did not hit for me. Some of them felt kind of flat. Some of them was like, oh, okay, I get it. The other ones were like, they were kind of forced and whatnot. But ignore the phone ringing. But yeah, it just kind of fell flat for me with some of the jokes that were being displayed, and the relationship between, we get it. I feel like maybe we should have started to move a little bit past that. Have some in there, don't have too much of it in there. And I think that was something that took me a little bit out the movie. I was like, okay, joke here, joke here, joke here, joke here. Okay, let's get back to that. Because let's be real here. We really wanted to see Carnage. That's what most of the people, including myself, wanted to come and see. What were they going to do with the Carnage character? And what direction were they going with him? And if they spend too much time just on Venom and Eddie, even though their name is right there on, this is Venom, then, you don't have that much time with the Carnage character. Like, I felt like it was one part in the movie where I felt like it was so much focus on just Venom and Eddie, and to the point where I was sitting there and some other people was probably thinking the same thing, like, okay, when are they going to get back to Carnage? Like, I felt like he was off screen for a good minute. So I feel like he should have got a little bit more screen time than he did. But when he was on screen, he commanded it. When Woody Harrelson was on screen, when the Carnage was on screen, they commanded those parts. I will admit there was one part in the movie that did make me jump. And that was at that fight that they had inside of the cathedral when they were fighting right there. That fight scene was really nice though, between Carnage and Venom. But when they were in the cathedral, it was something that Carnage said, in the way that he said it, and with the effects going around, it kind of made me jump a little bit because of how everything hit. But those were some of my only issues with the movie. Now, I will say this. One thing that made me and the rest of the audience very excited was the mid-credit scene. Whew! All I have to say is, without giving it away, there's going to be a very interesting meetup in the future. Hopefully the not too distant future at that, but there's going to be a very interesting meetup between Venom and a very other well-known character. I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all can leave who y'all think it is down in the comments. I really don't care. Because by the time y'all go see, y'all gonna figure it out anyway. And when that happened, and how they set that scene up, when I saw it, I kind of leaned forward in my seat and I was like, oh, I know what they about to do. It's all coming together now. And it was and to be honest, it was rumors when Tom Hardy had made some comments saying that he would like to do a movie with this person. I'm not going to say their name because it'll give it away. He said he wanted to do a movie with this person, and all of a sudden, you see this post-credit scene, and you see the person that he was talking about. I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all probably figured it out. But with that being said, that's going to conclude my review for Venom Let There Be Carnage. If I had to give it a score, I would give it a 7. Because, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. Like I said, y'all heard my issues. Some of you may be entertained, others will probably be taken out, and some probably won't care either way. But y'all let me know what y'all think about it down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.